Welcome back to the channel. This is Radio Jonesy, and in this video I'd like to chat about relocating from the mainland of Australia to the island of Tasmania. Just over, say, 3.5 years ago, there was a bit of a health crisis in the family, and we decided, after a good conversation, is that let's enjoy our retirement from now. So back then we decided, let's move away from the area of Sydney on the mainland of New South Wales. Let's go find somewhere that's going to be quiet, it's going to be nice, it's going to be peaceful, relaxing, inexpensive, all these wonderful thoughts we had. Let's go see where we can find to move. And by looking at my hat, you can tell we chose Tasmania. 5 good reasons for that. It's an island. Straight away, it's an island. That is, you're here on the island, and if it's a great place to relax, escape, scenery, beautiful beaches, mountains to climb, bushwalks and trails, and wherever you go there's just absolute beautiful scenery everywhere. And that's not a joke. You just got to go on YouTube and check out anyone's videos on Tasmania, and everyone will be just hyped up by how good the place is. And that was the main reason that we looked at South Australia, we looked at country New South Wales, we looked at country Victoria, we looked at Queensland. We decided Queensland was just going to be way too hot and humid, so we chose Tasmania. It had all the beauty, all the beaches, the laid-back lifestyle, and just over 3.5 years ago, we sold up everything and jumped on a ferry with our possessions, and we come over here, purchased a house, and we really haven't looked back. It has been a wonderful experience. If you're from the mainland, you can just jump in your car, you can drive 10 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, wherever you want to go. And if you're tired, you can stop and you can go again. You can travel from Queensland to South Australia. If you're crazy enough, you can drive to Western Australia or the Northern Territory. But you've always got a destination, and you can always stop and continue that on. But if you want to come to Tasmania, there is a waterway called Bass Strait that's going to stop you in your tracks. So you've either got to fly in or jump on the ferry. So that stops a lot of people just popping in on your doorstep and the old knock, knock, knock. How you going? We're just driving by. We thought we'd drop in. That has happened to us down here, let me tell you that. I've had a few people do the same sort of thing, but where we used to live on the beach, we used to get that all the time. Phone would ring, it'd be somebody just popping in, or can we park our caravan in your driveway, and we're just popping in for a doctor's appointment. And people would just stay and stay and stay. It was sort of crazy, but hey, what do you do for friends? You look after them if you can. We moved to Tasmania. You sort of settle into a new environment. Everybody's friendly. Everyone's social. As a New South Welshman moving here, I feel like I've gone back in time to when Australia was Australia. So everyone is friendly, everyone's chilled, relaxed. The vibe is just laid back. There is work everywhere. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's a position for you somewhere. And I've picked up work. It mightn't be the job I wanted, but I've picked up work straight away, and I've picked up work in a number of different places, and I get to pick and choose. It is that easy down here. There is a lot of people down here trying not to work and trying to start their retirement as early as they can. If you're an Australian, you sort of know what I'm talking about. But let me say, down here, we chose the northwest, the good hospitals, good expanse of population. Like we live in a city with only 24,000 people, so it's like a big country town, and we have all the amenities, all the shops you really require. The just so we wanted to go to a JB Hi-Fi, like one of the big stores like that, we'd probably have to drive down to Launceston, which is you just say you take an hour and a half to 2 hour drive each way. That's a negative, but like if you're in New South Wales, you want to drive to Sydney, or if you want to drive to Central Coast, it's the same sort of scenario. So it's not that big of a drama for us. But we did arrive. It was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We purchased a property. We got water views, beaches down the road, mountains up behind us. It is just such a magnificent area. So that is a fabulous positive. So like people, scenery, there is just so much going on. Yeah, and the cleanliness of the place, like people just littering really stands out. If someone litters, it really is a standout offence. People put their rubbish in the bins. People. It's not like Sydney. I'll tell you what, it's nothing. If you live in Sydney, and then you come down to say Hobart or even like Ulverston or a country town, you'll be amazed at how clean the place is, how people's attitudes are just, there's a can, put it in the recycling. Like in Sydney, it's throw it over your shoulder. Like the difference is chalk and cheese. So, but the water is clear, the air is fresh. People say to me, you're not going to handle the cold weather. Well, after 3 winters, I think we handle it pretty well. It's, you put a jumper on, or you put your fire on if it's that cold at your house, or your heater, or your heat pump, or however you, it's not as cold as what people make it out to be. And then in summer, it's not as hot as the rest of the country. Like down here, you get 25 degrees and everyone's complaining it's way too hot. And we're talking Celsius. So the weather here, I feel the weather here is perfect. It's perfect for you exercising. The beach, the water temperature is quite nice in winter because, I don't know, I'd have to find out what the water temperature is, but we've been swimming in winter and the water temperature is pretty good. The outside gets a bit chilly, but when you're in the water, it's surprisingly nice. And where you expect it to be like icebergs and freezing, well, it's just not. So, think about these things like moving to Tasmania, or think about if you wanted to change your life, how would you change it? Like relocation is a great way to grow again, to get rid of your baggage or your past or your. And if you want to start fresh, just move somewhere new. It is invigorating. It is enjoyable. It is great. We'll get on to some of the negatives about living in a place like Tasmania. Here's a big negative. People are talkative and friendly. So if you wanted to walk around with your eyes on the ground and try not to talk to people, it's very hard down here because people want to talk to you. That's a good thing. I'm sort of being a bit silly with that one, but people are friendly. People get to know you. My advice about furniture and moving interstate, if you want to move a lot of furniture, I would suggest bring the bare necessities. If I did it all over again, I would sell everything and start fresh. I would only bring a couple of things that you get in your car or your small little truck that you're going to bring on the ferry. The rest of it I would sell at marketplace and just get rid of it and buy fresh, because the expense of removalists, the absolute astronomical cost was crazy. You know, like we spent a small fortune on getting our furniture here, and when you really sit down and think about it, we've replaced most of that furniture already after 3 years. But that is one of the negatives. Is that another negative? If you want to quickly get off the island to visit a sick relative or something on the mainland, you know, it's a drive to an airport. It's jumping on the next plane and you're out, and then you're landing wherever you need to go. And whereas if you're on the mainland, you can jump in the car and just drive straight to where you need to go. That's a negative, but it's not drastic. It can be easily fixed. Jumping on the ferry with your car, you know, like it can be expensive if you want a quick trip. I'll tell you what, it's booked out. The ferry system is so popular here in Tasmania. It's hard to get on the ferry with your car. I know a lot of people who go to the football in Melbourne. They'll jump on the ferry just so they're going to a Saturday game. They'll jump on the ferry Friday night. They'll have a drinking session on the ferry. Arrive refreshed and ready to go, have another walk around the city of Melbourne, go to get their accommodation for the night, go to the football, go back to their accommodation, have another good old fun time, go see a band and do something like that, and then maybe jump on the ferry the next day and come home, and that's their weekend away. A lot of people do that down here. A lot of people fly in and fly back as well. So that's the negative, is that you have got that isolation, but I bring that isolation as a positive. I'm really enjoying the living on island. Just say I went from one extreme. I was at the northwest and I wanted to go down to Hobart. If I was right up the northwest, as high as I can go, just up past Smithton somewhere, and then I wanted to go down to Hobart. Yeah, you're looking at a 5-hour drive, relaxed. So that's like a diagonal run across the island. So it's quite. People go, oh, I know. I've met people since I've been here who do not go south. There's a bit of a rivalry between the southerners and the northerners. You know, the southerners at the bottom of the island, sporting rivalries, and there's a lot of history there. I won't get into it because, you know, like, I suppose I'm from New South Wales, so it's not for me to say, but all I need to say is that there is a rivalry, and some people don't even go to Hobart because they don't want to go down to that big city. They don't want to be in the hustle and bustle, and they've lived all their life up the top end of the island. So it's crazy when you talk to them. You say, where have you been? They go, oh no, I've been down to Launceston, and I've been like up to Strawn, you know, like just the top half of this island. And I said, what about overseas? He goes, no, wouldn't go overseas. So I've met a few people like that since I've been here. Music as well, like I'm a music lover, and I've been going to gigs for a big part of my life. They are here, the gigs are here, but it's just not as prevalent as if you're in the, you know, like the Melbourne music scene or the Sydney music scene, or the Central Coast, Newcastle music scene. Brisbane, I don't know too much, but I know there's a lot of gigs up there. So Gold Coast and Brisbane, I know that's a bit of a scene as well. So it's not as prevalent here, and from what I've seen, let me just say, I've seen a couple of gigs, and who knows. But yeah, the negatives, your isolation, your it's hard to find negatives. Wildlife, you got to dodge the wildlife. The wildlife down here is that great. The local wallabies, which are paddymellons. There's kangaroos, there's wallabies, and there's paddymellons. The paddymellons are everywhere. They're like feral rabbits. They are everywhere. Like, I went to work the other day and I probably drove past 30 that are alive and 50 that are dead from the night before. So it's sad, but it's there's I'd like to get the numbers on how many they reckon is on the island, because They apparently they only live in Tasmania and Papua New Guinea, the paddy melons. I get them in my yard every night on my ridgeline that we live on. There's like generational wildlife we're in the city, but because we've got big blocks of land, they've grown up here, they live here, and they own the place. They clean your vegetable gardens out. That's another negative. The wildlife is so bad here. You've really got to have a Fort Knox in your veggie garden. But if you're from the mainland and you've come to Tasmania, leave a comment for me. Tell me if it was what your thoughts are. If you're from Tasmania, don't tell me that. Don't let everybody else in. People. We need people here. We need workers. So come on down. I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that, I'll tell you. There's on a couple of my other videos I've done in the past, people just, born and bred Tasmanians are special. I tell you what, they are great people. I work with a few. I'd like to do an interview series with a few of them actually, so I'm going to try that out. And there's a few groovy guys I met through work. Like there's a couple of Daves and a few others, a few interesting characters. In saying all this, I'm going to weigh it up here. I'll give it a moving to Tasmania. I've lived in a few different locations. I'm giving living in Tasmania a 9.5 out of 10. It's got everything you need. It's got snow, it's got beaches, it's got wildlife, it's got a Jurassic Park scenery, it's got deserts, it's got lakes, it's got mountains, you name it. It's all here in this one little island. And if you haven't travelled to Tasmania, please do. It's a fabulous, fabulous place. The negatives, there's only a couple, and it's just a bit more expensive to get on and get off. That's about the worst you get. Tell me what you think in the comments. Put one down there. Tell me if you've relocated from somewhere, if you're around the world, where you moved from and where you moved to. I would like to hear that. I really do enjoy reading the comments. If there's any other questions about the island, relocation or whatever, please put it in the comments. I'd love to, if you want to hit me up with an email, I would like to reply to you. But yeah, moving to Tasmania, almost a 10 out of 10. There's 9.5 in my humble opinion. Check out not just my videos. Look at other people's comments or content, and look at there is a few channels out there that have said moving to Tasmania was a negative for them because of these reasons. Most of the time they're younger people. They've come here expecting who knows what. Maybe it didn't suit. Maybe they're chasing the husband, the wife, the family, the kids, whatever, and it hasn't happened for them, so they've moved back to where they've come from. I've seen a few videos like that. I've seen a few other videos where people just come here and they just blow their mind. They just go, how good is this place? So anyway, that's my conversation for the day. Relocation, it is good for the soul. It is a new beginning. We've loved our time here, and we're going to be here for a lot longer, let me tell you that. Until we see, I'll see you again on one of these videos, or until we meet again, ciao.
Hi, I'm Jordan from Boat Harbour, and the best thing to do when you get home from a long day at work, switch on the telly, put on some Radio Jonesy.